This entitled family just caused thousands of dollars of damages at a hotel restaurant. But they aren't done yet, as they continue to cause grief to this poor family just wanting to enjoy their holiday. Happy birthday if today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show. In the story is me, my sister, mum, grandma, entitled mum, entitled brat, entitled dad, entitled teen, chief of police, and GD1 and 2, the chief of police's grandson and granddaughter. The background stuff. Now then, my sister was always wanting to go to Great Wolf Lodge for 4 years, and mum and grandma decided to blow a few bucks and get a room with a small treehouse in it and tons more stuff. They spoiled her this time, but if she ever acted spoiled during this, my grandma would, no joke, knock her upside the head. Knocking some sense into her, is what grandma called it. Don't worry, she did it to me too. And it wasn't hard, just enough to let you know that she wasn't happy with you and you'd better stop. So, because sis was the birthday girl, she got a little headband with wolf ears and a little party hat stitched on top. It looked cute. But I was shocked when it turns out it was also to celebrate my birthday too. My sister and I have birthdays 13 days apart, so I can see where it would save a bit of money. The hotel staff was very understanding that I, an almost 18-year-old at the time, did not want all of that attention. So, a few of the staff just gave me a tag that allowed me to go and hang out in the arcade. It was nice. The tag was like a Chuck E. Cheese pass, where you can play for a certain amount of time, but had infinite credits during that time. The tag had about 6 hours on it per day. How? I don't know, but it was still pretty cool. That headband though, I wore it just for the sake of my sister. She thought it looked good on me. So enough background, let's move on. So as you can imagine, there was a family already causing trouble after we got into the hotel room. I was already crashed on the couch from hauling mine and grandma's luggage up to the room. Grandma is 79. She deserves to have a helping hand whenever I'm around. The family was trying to break into one of the rooms down the hall, yelling at the janitor dude who looked like he had foretold this would happen. So he got out a walkie-talkie and called the manager and security. They got there and was already acting like it was a mistake. "I just read the floor number wrong," she nervously said, and everyone in the vicinity bought it. Not me. I knew better, but decided to let my r/entitled parents knowledge stay benched for now. It would save my sister's party and get the entitled family gone before the cakes came out tomorrow. So sis wanted to go and enjoy the water park with mum, but grandma wasn't up to it. Shoot, forgot to mention this. Grandma had just gotten a tumor removed from her, and she still didn't feel too good, but she went with us anyway, because she cared that much. She is one tough lady, I swear. So grandma said that she would go with me to the arcade, because she liked the crane games. I always won something nice for her in those machines. So mum said that we would meet at about 3 in the afternoon for lunch. So we went off our separate ways. The arcade was freaking huge. It had just about 108 games for tickets, and 23 crane games, and 3 of those VR headset stages. This place was sick. So grandma, who's still got it, bet me $40 that I couldn't get a better score than her at skee-ball. That was her favorite. So not wanting to miss the chance to beat the lady who taught me how to play skee-ball, I said, "Game on." She lost by 100 points, and the score when all was said and done was me 176,900, grandma 176,800. She was impressed and gave me $40 just like she said. That $40 was going to help me get something nice for my sister. She saw this cute little wolf cub plushie, and she saw that it was $35 and couldn't get it. Don't tell her that I got it for her. She still thinks that the staff got it for her. I care about my sister, but I still want to maintain that cool brother with an edgy side to him. She calls me an edgelord because I kept a poker face a lot during this, but still was a little kid inside. Where is the entitled family, you the readers are asking? They're complaining about the t-shirts being $25.99 in the gift shop. So while Grandma and I were trying to get the Xbox One S from one of the huge prize games, I felt like I was being followed or watched, But Grandma was with me and there was some of the staff patrolling the games, so I brushed it off. Patrolling the game? Yes, you'd be surprised how many kids try to climb and rig the machines because they lost. So when Grandma said that she would go and sit down in the diner area that had a good view of the arcade from, I still helped her over there and kept semi-close to her. Like I said, she just had a tumor removed and was still woozy. So I stayed at the machines that kept her in my line of sight. Then one of those machines was calling to me. It said, "Cookie, come and play me." Just imagine like a fake ghost voice that had the slight stammer in it. So it had a Nintendo Switch with Smash Bros. Ultimate as one of the prizes. This is where E.T. didn't phone home. So there was of course a line, and I was 3 people away from the front and saw how the game worked. It was a memory game where you had to get the score of 100 at least in 120 seconds to get the Switch. The highest score before I was up there was 12. So E.T. was behind me and she was just staring at me, and it freaked me out a lot. But being next, I drowned her out. I got the score of a whopping 109. So I got the Switch and walked away like I was a king. Another gift for my sister. Hey, I won it, so technically I bought it with my skills. E.T. was following me the whole darn time I went around the arcade looking for a small jar of candy to get Grandma. She is still a sucker for anything that was a Tootsie Roll. I turned around after getting it, and there was E.T. just staring at me. It was about 30 seconds before she said, "Would you like to go to the pool with me?" I was already seeing where this was going, so I politely turned down her offer. She screamed at the top of her lungs, "Am I not good enough for you? What am I? Too fat? Too short? Too beautiful for you?" She was thinking that I was going to ask her out, and she would pull the classic, "I'm out of your league, so don't even try" gimmick, I think. Then she said that because I was so rude to her that if I didn't give her the Switch, she would scream. The employee that was right behind her looked like he could easily overpower the Hulk. He was just clearing his throat, and she turned around and saw him, and everyone looking at her for trying to threaten me and blackmail me. She just turned white and stormed off. The guy just gave me a smile that said, if she tries that again, she won't get far. I had a huge amount of respect for the guy, but it doubled when he called security and told them that there was this situation that could arise again. I just went back to Grandma and told her what happened. She said the whole hotel could hear her screaming at me, so I showed the fruits of my labor. And then the 3 p.m. time had come, so Grandma just said to put it in the huge bag that could hold an entire universe. She'd keep it safe for me. Lunch was good for about 2 minutes before the E.T.'s little craphead siblings came along. It was a disaster to say the least. They had single-handedly ruined maybe $5,000 worth of food, dishes, and utensils because they had the VIP passes, so they thought they were untouchable. They claimed that their mum was the hotel manager, so they could do this, and if we stopped them, there would be trouble. So the staff didn't know what to do then. Chief of Police stood up and yelled out, "Police!" Everyone saw him and his shiny badge. The whole situation died before it could go farther. But these kids, and the parents, aren't beaten back this easy, or they would learn. The 2 little EKs decided to come over and wreck my sister's dinner by throwing it at her. They hauled butt away, and we didn't see them for the rest of the night. But my sister was sad that her pot roast was on her everywhere, but not in her mouth. I took her to the room and stayed until she was good to go back down. The EM was in the hall, waiting for us. It was the usual confrontation between the EMs and their victims. "You, my daughter, and you stole her Sega. You then ruined their dinner by threatening them with a fake police officer, and you kidnapped a little girl. I will call the staff and have you arrested. I'd like to see you try to arrest my big bro." Sis, not a good time to do that. Sis had always known me to scare the crap out of anyone who picked on her, but this wasn't the time nor the place to be intimidating AF. "You're going to rot in heck for this." E.T. and ED were done, and then we heard the security come around the corner with them in tow. It looked like it was going to get hairy, but before anything happened, I said, would it hurt to check the security footage of the CCTV cam? Right there behind this woman, the family turned white as sheets and started running. Of course, they wouldn't get too far because they were trapped in a building with a bounty set on them. Fast forward to the actual B-Day for us, which was the next day. The entitled family had somehow gotten away from all the people and were just gone. But it was cake time, so I didn't give two craps about them. The cake was pretty nice. It was covered in white chocolate frosting and was a solid gooey mess inside. It was delicious. And when the cake was about to be sliced by Grandma, the entitled family took that as a way to get to us. The ET pushed Grandma to the floor and kicked her. The EM was sporting a baseball bat, somehow, and the two brats were grabbing all of the presents. Then Chief of Police and about 4 other officers were on the scene, with tasers and mace ready. The family then hauled butt with the stolen presents, and then got about 3 feet and were blocked by the Hulk employee. They turned around and saw that they were clearly outnumbered. I just went forth and took back all the stuff that they took, and ET shouted at me. The family was kicked out and taken away in the cops' car. The staff and the managers were trying to calm everyone down, and the medic on standby was looking at Grandma, who fortunately landed on the bag of clothes for the pool. She just got a bruise from where ET got her, but she was fine. The staff took $400 off the bill, so it cost us about $250 to stay, and they threw in an extra night free of charge. Sis got a lot of cool stuff, and it turns out she had gotten Be a Cool Night wolf shirt and a coffee mug that said, "I don't care who dies in the movie as long as the dog lives." The pool was nice though. It was cool how they fit almost 600 feet of indoor slide in there, but we stayed and we enjoyed ourselves. Then the final day came, and Sis wanted to go to the arcade with me, Mom and Grandma. We played until the pass ran out and walked away with $300 in prizes. That was fun, but it was kinda thanks to the EM and a screwed up family. We got to go home the next day, and we got to play Smash Ultimate all the way home. It was nice, and Sis wanted to do this again someday. No EMs, of course. She had enough of them for one lifetime. I guess that's the one redeeming factor sometimes about entitled parents. If others see you suffering and take pity on you, you might end up getting something out of it. Not that it makes up for having to actually encounter an entitled family. This happened several years ago when I was a kid, about 11 years old, and visiting a friend. This has just recently popped in my mind, and I just want to get it out there so I can let it go. So I went to a friend's house and had a sleepover, as we usually had, and in the morning, we got the news that they were going to have other guests over, EM and her 2 kids, cousins to my friend. I was allowed to stay since my mum and friend's dad had a set time for my pickup to be later in the evening, the same day as their guests came. So no issue there. The guests came and the adults did their thing, while we kids were running around being kids. We were playing, having fun and all that. Then the youngest of the kids, the only boy, went aside on his own and was playing with a hockey game, not really interested in whatever we girls were doing. This is where the EM pulls me aside and tells me that they were their main guests, and that she could easily get me to be sent home, that they are family, and if I didn't make sure that her son got included, she'd tell my friend's dad that I was bullying her son and would get me sent home. She didn't want me there, and I was in the way. She let me go, and I go tell my friend and her kids what had just happened. I was a shy kid, and I suffered severe bullying at school, and was terrified the entire day after that, but all of us got along really well, and none of her kids had anything against me being there. They actually wanted me to stay another night, just so we could hang out even more. Later in the day, we went down to swim in the lake. The ED followed us there, and she would not stop staring at me. I still remember feeling like I didn't belong there, and how I just wanted to go home at this point. Her daughter had a cast on her arm, and couldn't go too deep in the water due to it, so I'd swim around her and talk with her, while constantly being judged by her mother. I didn't tell my mum about it because I was scared that the ED would and would make sure that I wasn't allowed to come back. Never saw the ED or her kids again after that, and I continued to have regular sleepovers with the friend afterwards. It still bugs me till this day that an adult acted like this towards me as a kid. I didn't do anything wrong, and she could have just gone into the room and asked her son why he wasn't playing with the rest of us. I was a guest as well, and a kid. It does seem really strange why she was so threatened by a kid that was at the house. I don't know, maybe she's just really particular about it. Like when she goes over with her family to visit as a guest, she expects it to be the same every single time. And if the kid was the only boy, naturally he's not gonna always fit in with what the other girls want to do. Maybe if she was a good mum, she should have thought of other things that could have entertained him while he was there so he could play by himself. I know, crazy idea, huh? Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.